I had been overweight all of my life. I remember laying on the hotel room bed and I thought, you know what? This is my life. If I am going to live my life in this body at this weight, so overweight and so unhealthy, miserable from the inside, I would rather die. I want to tell you a story about believing before you become. In 2006, I was a newlywed. It should have been the time of my life. It should have been the best time, the happiest time I had ever lived. I found myself on an airplane going to a work conference. It was the summer of 2006. And for the first time, I had to ask for a seatbelt extender. I weighed 300 pounds, or at least that was the last time that I stepped on a scale, was at 300 pounds. And at that point, I quit weighing and I quit going to the doctor. I was so horrified on that airplane, having to ask for a seatbelt extender. I tried so hard to get that seatbelt locked around me without having to ask for that seatbelt extender. And I finally realized that it just wasn't going to happen. And I very quietly tried to ask the flight attendant for the seatbelt extender. And she said, yes, just a minute. And she comes back and in a humiliating, what I perceived as loud fashion, hands me the seatbelt extender in front of everybody and says, here's your seatbelt extender. I felt like she screamed it loud enough for the whole plane to hear. And I felt so humiliated. And I put the seatbelt extender on, and I needed it. It wasn't even just a little bit. I went to the conference, and I remember laying on the hotel room bed. And I laid there and I thought, you know what? If this is my life, if I am going to live my life in this body at this weight, I would rather die. In what should have been my happiest time as a newlywed, we had just gotten back from Disney World, a trip with my stepson, should have been the happiest time of my life, in one of the happiest places of my life, but I was so overweight and so unhealthy and so miserable from the inside that I just couldn't even imagine living life in that body. I laid in that hotel room bed and I promise you, I contemplated how to end my life. I contemplated how in the world can I just stop it now? If this is my life in this body, and I promise at that point I had tried to not be in that body. I had tried ways of losing weight. I had tried all my life because I had been overweight all of my life. And I had tried things. I had tried diets. I had tried exercise. There were physical limitations in my body that prevented me from losing weight, and no amount of doctors and exercise and diets and whatever at that point would explain it. And I contemplated how to end my life. Thankfully, a good friend of mine talked to me about trying some other methods of losing weight. And I agreed with her to try some other methods before I continued to think of the ways to end my life. She at least got me to commit to postponing the thoughts of ending my life and instead substitute the thoughts of how to lose weight. So for the next 20 years, from 2006 to about a year ago, I tried all these other methods of losing weight. And some of them worked for a while, and then they didn't. I never got back to 300 pounds, but I lost a lot of weight, and then I'd gain it back, and then I'd lose some more, and I'd gain it back, and I'd lose some more, and I'd gain it back. I mean, I tried diets, exercise, personal trainers. I ran a half marathon at one point, which was fantastic. I did Weight Watchers. I did all the different medications that have come out in the last 20 or so years. I did hypnosis. I've done weight loss surgeries. And all of those worked for a while. And then they wouldn't. What changed for me was that about a year ago, I had a vision. And I would like to say it was a dream, but it really wasn't. I wasn't really asleep, but I wasn't really awake. It was me, but it was me in this future body and this vision of me in Technicolor, such vibrant colors in this vision. And it was me, but it was better me. I was backstage. I was getting ready to go on in front of a whole bunch of people. The audience was kind of dark and the stage was lit. I was vibrant. I was full of energy. And you have to understand, a year ago in those moments, I had no energy. I would come home from work and I would go to sleep on the couch at 7 p.m. and my husband would wake me up to go to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and I would sleep all night like I had no energy. But this vision, this Technicolor vision of me, I was vibrant and full of energy and happy and smiling. In that moment of having this vision, I saw it. I believed it. I believed in that moment that I could be that person that I saw in that vision. I could do it. I could become her. I could be her because I saw her. In that moment, inside of me, I believed in my internal being that I could be her, that I was her. I could do whatever it took to become her because I believed it, I saw it, I felt it, I tasted it, I smelled it with every sense that I have. I felt it, and I knew the strategy it would take to become her. I laid out the plan in that very moment, like there wasn't even a question. I just knew what it was going to take to be that. About that time, I was introduced to Tim Storey, and you've recently gotten to hear my podcast. If you haven't heard that podcast, go back and listen to it. Tim Storey says something from the stage that I heard about that time frame that just literally gut punched me. And you know, when people say if something gut punches you, like it really, when something gut punches you, like you literally have a visceral reaction. Like when something gut punches you, like it really you know. So about that time, like I heard Tim Storey speak in person. And he does this thing when he speaks. He quotes this Black Eyed Peas song. He goes, "Imma Be, Imma Be, Imma Be." And if you've ever heard that Black Eyed Peas song, you know what it's about. It's about envisioning your future and becoming your future self. And Tim Storey quotes that song from the stage, and he's personal friends with the Black Eyed Peas. And so he talks about becoming your future self. And he does that from the stage. And he's like, "Imma Be, Imma Be, Imma Be." And the first time I ever heard him do that, it was right after I had this vision of my future self. And I'm like, oh my God, Imma Be, Imma Be, Imma Be, because Tim Storey tells me I'm a bee. And I had this vision that I'm a bee. And oh my gosh, I'm a bee. And you know what? I laid out a plan. I found the right doctor. And because of advances in medicine and advances in the miracles of medicine and all the things that they've done for research in weight loss medicine, They've found out that there's things about our bodies that they never knew before. And they diagnosed me with some things that they never knew before. And medicine has changed my life. And because of different medicines that have affected my body, I have lost a total of 170 pounds as of the minute I'm doing this video. Can you believe that? From my highest weight at 300 plus pounds to today, I have lost 170 pounds. I feel better than I've ever felt before. And I started that because I believed on the inside that I could be the best me. And, you know, the outside things that have changed about me, the physical things that you see about me that are different, that's just what you see on the outside, because the things that have actually changed are the things that have changed on the inside of me. And because of those changes, I have learned so many things. And you know, whenever I heard Tim Storey speak and he said, Imma Be, Imma Be, Imma Be, that changed my world. Tim Storey, when he did that, he rocked my existence, because now whenever I think about something that I want to change about myself, I go, Imma Be, Imma Be, Imma Be. And I hear Tim Storey and I see Tim Storey and he does that. And if you haven't seen my podcast episode, he does that in the podcast episode too. It's my favorite thing. But it's such an easy thing because I hear Tim Storey do that. Imma Be, Imma Be, Imma Be. And then I just know. I know that I can do it. I know that I can be it. I know that that thing I want to be, the thing that I envision myself being, I can be. I believe that you have to see yourself before you can be yourself. I believe that clarity is the first miracle. And I believe that your circle around you multiplies your Imma Be. Here's the 3 lessons that I want you to take away today. First lesson, setbacks plant your Imma Be moments. You know, Tim Storey says you can't have a comeback without a setback. Like, that's fundamental Tim Storey. Anytime you hear Tim Storey talk, and if you listen to my prior episode, like, that's fundamental Tim Storey. He is the comeback king. You know, you can't have a comeback without a setback. If I was to say it, you can't have flowers if you don't have the rain. Anytime that you want to achieve something, most achievements, most great things that you're going to achieve are going to come after a setback. So, you know, you're going to have those ditch moments. You're going to find yourself down in the ditch. You know, my ditch moment, that moment I had to ask for the seatbelt extender. Man, that was one of the lowest moments, if not the lowest moment in my life. It led to one of those lowest moments of my life, laying on that hotel room bed, you know, contemplating how to end my life. And it led to a really good friend of mine convincing me not to. You know, you talk about being down in the ditch. I mean, man, the ditch of despair, that was a big one for me. But you can't have a comeback without that setback. And so for me, my comeback is, you know, this transformation that over many, many years, it took me many, many years of doing it, but I can't say that from that moment to this, that until recently, I even really believed that I could do it. But, you know, I heard Tim Storey speak and I had this technicolor vision of myself. And then I really believed that Imma Be this person, this new person with energy and vitality and a new body that represented all the things that I knew I was on the inside. So the setback is the thing that plants your Imma Be moment. Number 2, vision and clarity lead to action. So whenever I had that vision, that technicolor vision of myself, it gave me clarity on who I was, not the outer physical being of who I was, but who I was on the inside, what I felt like, what I represented, the energy I felt, the vitality I felt, who I wanted to be, the message I was giving to the world, the actions I was portraying to the world, the things I stood for. And that vision gave me clarity. And that clarity led to my next actions. It gave me the strategy that laid out next for me. It told me, okay, here's the vision, here's the clarity, here's the action, here's the strategy. And all of those things lead to the miracle that you could say is the 170-pound weight loss, right? So when you get clear on your vision, the simple thing, the clarity on the vision, then the strategy lays out, the path lays out, and the miracle ends up happening. The miracle comes from that inner shift that happens from the vision. So the vision is the first thing. The vision plus the clarity give you the strategy that lead to the miracle. Third lesson. Comebacks aren't solo. You can't have a comeback by yourself. It's going to take a team. And, you know, the old adage of like, you are who you surround yourself with, or as my mama would say, you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. You know, your comeback isn't going to be solo. You got to surround yourself with the right people. You may have to cut some people out of your life to have your comeback. You may have to go find yourself some new people to have your comeback. For me, one of the things I had to do was to go search out the world's greatest doctor to help me transform my body. I had to go find the right doctor to help me figure out what was going on with my body because all of the traditional answers weren't working. And I did that. I found the best doctor who had 3 board certifications in things that were going on with me. And because of testing and advances in medicine, she found out that there were some things that I'd never been diagnosed with before. Because of those diagnoses, we changed some medications, and it made all the difference. Here I am, 170 pounds different. I feel better. My metabolism is better. I have so much energy that I get the right amount of sleep, I get the right amount of nutrition, and my numbers, my blood tests, my nutrition, my micronutrition, everything is rocking the house. And I feel great. And because I feel great, I'm able to accomplish so much more. And that has made such an internal difference for me as well. You also have to surround yourself with the right coaches, the right mentors, the right friends. You know, if the people around you aren't inspiring you and aren't leveling you up, then find people who do. The right people around you multiply your Imma Be attitude. They are going to have an Imma Be attitude too. So then you can become who you need to be because they're becoming who they need to be. And these folks who are holding you back or who are discouraging you from becoming everything you can be, just let them go. So those are my 3 lessons, right? I mean, setbacks plant your Imma Be moments, vision and clarity lead to action, and comebacks aren't solo. Tim Storey's Imma Be, Imma Be, Imma Be. You know, that's not just hype. It's memorable. It sticks with you, but it's not just hype. It's actually strategy. Comeback starts the minute you decide who you want to be, who you will be, and who you are. And even if nobody else sees that vision but you get to decide who you are going to be. I had the vision. I declared it to myself. I heard Tim Storey say, Imma Be, Imma Be, Imma Be. And literally every morning when I woke up, I got out of bed and I said to myself, I heard Tim Storey, I visualized him on the stage when I heard him say it for the first time, and I did a little shimmy and I said, Imma Be, Imma Be, Imma Be. And I made it happen every single day until it was. And you know, it still is. Like, I'm still becoming, but every day I get up and I take action toward Imma Be until I get there. And you know, even when you get there, like then the goal moves, right? And you're still gonna Imma Be, because you're never gonna 100% get there, because the target's gonna move, right? And it's gonna keep moving until we reach the pearly gates and shake St. Peter's hand, and hopefully St. Peter says, good job. Every day, I hope you get up and hear our friend Tim Storey say to you, like I hear him say to me, Imma Be, Imma Be, Imma Be, because you can do it. Your comeback starts from your setback, and your comeback starts with your Imma Be moment. Imma be, 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 Imma be.